Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. So last month was super hard for me. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I think Jacqueline, you like had Success Club right away. But for some reason, like I struggled last month, and so I had an epiphany. First of all, I had a come to Jesus session with my husband, and he was like, Jess, you are out of control right now. Like everything that's going on around you, your life is kind of chaotic and it's bleeding into other areas of your life. Like my kids situation and it being summer and like my kids aren't on a routine. And so I just kind of was like, okay, I've got to get focused because my life is so crazy. So the first thing that I did, I sat down with my husband and I wrote out a work schedule. And I have it right here on my board. And for the 3 years I've been coaching, I have never had business hours because I thought, oh, I'm a mom, nothing is scheduled. It's kind of just whatever. And that is so, if it's going to be like that, you're going to get very frustrated very quickly. And that's what I found myself becoming, was very frustrated very quickly at everybody. My life, my husband, my kids, the situation that God has us in right now. I was just very frustrated and I needed some control. So last Thursday, a week from today, we sat down, I had a meltdown, and I was like, I've got to get my life under control. So 2 hours later or something like that, he wrote me up the schedule, and I have a business schedule. And as soon as I wrote this out, I felt like I could breathe again because I had some type of organization in my life. I mean, he even called it, he was so like mad at me that night. I mean, we just were both just on each other. Jessica's organized work life. Okay. So we do this together, but I mean, my organized work life, because he kept telling me I'm so unorganized, and that makes me very angry to hear that, but I am. I was very unorganized. So anyway, long story short, so my mornings start at 4 a.m. And this is just me because this is what I have to do. And this is my reality right now. I hope I'm not like breaking up, am I? I keep saying my internet's unstable. Okay. So this is my season of life. All of you guys have seasons of life. And some of you guys may have kids that like go to school or go to camps or like have some time where you're able to kind of function by yourself. That is not my season of life right now, especially because both my kids are home right now all the time. So my season of life, I have to get up at 4 a.m. to do what I have to do. And then, I've got my work schedule, I've got my work hours. So first of all, that's the first thing I want to say to you guys is I don't know if you kind of feel like your beach is like all over the place, but I would highly encourage you to make business hours and stick to business hours. I wouldn't just say, hey, if I get time today, I'm going to sit down and maybe invite. I would say, okay, in my calendar, and I hope you have a calendar, and you're going to make appointments with yourself that when somebody says, hey, do you want to go to lunch? You're going to look at your calendar and you're going to say, oh, what day? And then you're going to say, oh my goodness. You're going to say to yourself, you don't have to necessarily tell your person that, but you're going to say, oh my goodness, I scheduled, for me to work, to be able to work for 2 hours on Wednesday. That's not going to be a good day. So like I highlight work hours. This is what I used to do. I still do that. But like those are times that I have put aside to do my work. And then I have my family life that nothing, like my work doesn't interrupt that. So there's a balance, but it's 100% zero. So like 100% of your time needs to be focused on your business. And then with doing nothing else, like no distractions. And then 100% of your time needs to be focused on your family when it's non-business hours. So anyway, maybe that's just a tip that I can give you guys, but especially just when all of you are going to start rank advancing and adding to your teams and things like that, your life is going to feel like it's spinning down a spiral and you don't have any control. And I've done this for 1 week now. Today's my 1 week anniversary. And I just feel like I'm on top of the world, which is a great segue into what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. and that is recruiting. So I don't know if you guys have read the book Go Pro by Eric Worre. So this was my very first personal development book that I ever read. And then he spoke at Summit, I think 3 years ago. I think it was the year that I couldn't go. My very first year, because I was about to have a baby. But 7 steps to becoming a network marketing professional. So he's worth like $20 million, and he talks about how he's one of the best network marketers in the world. Now, I've actually read a lot of network marketers' books. He's the most humble. Okay, so like, for instance, I'm reading the 10 times rule right now, and this guy is just like super cocky about, how much he makes and all that kind of stuff. Very two different outlooks on network marketing as a whole. I would say this one is so awesome and humble, but he knows what he's talking about because he is a professional. I mean, if you Google network marketing professionals, his name comes up. Like he's been doing it for a very long time. So all that being said, I want to talk to you guys about, and I'm talking to you about this because you don't have to do this, but I am telling you this is what I'm going to do. And I want to kind of just share with you what I'm going to do starting this month. And you may say, okay, this isn't a good month. Maybe I'll start next month. But I want you guys, for any of you that are focusing on building a team of people underneath you, I want you to think about doing this concept. It's genius. And he came up with it. And I have gone back and forth on whether or not I wanted to do this. And I think I've stopped a million times because I thought there's no way I can do this. But I know that I can do this. So I want to talk to you guys, first of all, about setting goals that are almost over the top. Like almost, I know I can't hit that. And the reason that I'm asking you to set goals like that, I don't want you to say, okay, I'm going to hit Success Club 5 this month. Okay, well, why do I not want you to say goals like, I want you to hit Success Club 5 this month? What does that mean? Well, what that means is the action that you put behind that goal is going to be very minimal, most likely, because your goal is to hit Success Club 5. So what does that mean? You may invite like once a week because it's only Success Club 5, right? It's not that hard. I mean, it's difficult, but it's difficult if you think it's difficult. But if you're only inviting once a week, you may squeak by with a Success Club 5 by the end of the month. You might. You may not. If you're only inviting 10 people a month, say you only invite 10 people a month, statistically only one of those people is going to sign up with your challenge group. So if your goal is Success Club 5 and you're doing the actions that mimic Success Club 5, then you may not hit it. But say you decide, I'm going to hit Success Club 20 this month. I know I can do it. That's a ridiculous goal. I've never hit Success Club 20 in my life. I'm going to hit Success Club 20 this month. Then the actions behind that are going to be more elaborate than if you're just saying, I'm going to hit Success Club 5. You're probably going to invite 3 people a day. You may even invite 5 people a day to your challenge group. But it's going to match the action of whatever your goal is. So for instance, if you just say, man, I just want to be diamond. Okay, 3 years may go by and you're still not diamond. Why is that? Because your actions are not matching what your goal is. So I need you guys, you don't have to say it out loud, but I want you to think about it. And it's going to be your call to action tonight. I want you guys to think of whatever your goal has been in the past. Maybe it's Success Club 5, and that's fine if it's Success Club 5. That if you've never hit Success Club, I want it to be Success Club 5. But I want you to think of whatever your goal is, and I want you to up it just a notch. I want you to think, what's something that I probably can't do? That's going to be my goal. Because what if you don't hit Success Club 20? You might hit Success Club 10. Okay, that's a success. What if you don't hit Success Club 5? Well, then you don't hit Success Club. So let's think about what your goal is, and let's just like turn the heat on a little bit. I want to encourage every single one of you guys to do that. And so that's what I want to start off with is I want you to think scary goal from now on. Okay, so we're in June. It's June 2nd, and it's halfway through the year. So we have another 6 months. Okay. We have 6 months left in this year. That's it, you guys. We're halfway done. This is awesome because we have 6 months to turn up the heat in our business. No matter what we've done 6 months prior to now, you may have done nothing. You may have done nothing. All you can control now is between June and December, the end of the year. So let's think about that. Let's focus on that tonight. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys about recruiting. And Eric Worre does this webinar, this seminar thing, and he talks about he went and talked to like $100 million earners, and he asked them, he said, can you pinpoint what you did in your business that allowed it to grow? What is that thing that you did that allowed your business to grow, and how is it that you became $1 million earner? And what they said was, all of them were able to pinpoint this, even him, because he's now $1 million earner. It was short bursts of activity in a big burst of activity in a short amount of time. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, so think about it. A burst of activity in a short amount of time. So for us, for Beachbody coaches, what does that look like for us? Well, that might mean that for 10 days, or let's just say 30 days, for 30 days, all we think about doing is recruiting coaches. That's all we eat, breathe, and sleep, is talking to people about the business opportunity for 30 days. That's all you do. You're not worried about challengers right now. You're not worried about, you may have a challenge group, but your focus right now, if you're wanting to take your business to the next level, if you're wanting to be whatever your goal is, it may just be to hit Success Club, or it may be to retire your husband, or it might be to, make money to get out of debt. So if that is whatever your goal is, then you have to you have to do a lot of activity in a short amount of time. So let's say 30 days. Let's say for 30 days you do nothing but recruit. You do nothing but talk to people. You do nothing but one-on-one calls with other potential coaches. You host a coaching webinar, or you get with a couple other coaches and you host a coaching webinar once a week for 30 days. You prioritize everything that you do, writing people's names down of your dream team. Who is it that you want to be on your team? Who is it that if you could build the perfect tribe, who do you want on your team? And you're writing those people's names down. And then what you're doing is you're contacting them and you're telling them that they have the ability to be amazing at this. And so you're breathing life into them and you're telling them they can do this. And you're setting the scene for what you want your team to look like. That's what you're doing. So for 30 days, you're inviting more than you have probably invited in an entire year. And I don't know what that looks like for you. For me, that would be like inviting 20 to 30, no, more than that. That would be like me inviting 30 to 40, actually inviting 30 to 40 people a day. I know that's scary, that freaks you out. But this is what his point is. His point is think about it. For a plane, hang on, I'm going to mute everybody. Sorry. I don't know how to mute everybody. You all. Okay. Everybody's muted. He was saying for a plane to get off the ground, for a plane to get off the ground, start flying, and get altitude, can it give 20% on the runway? No, it can't give 20%. It can't give 50%. It can't give 75%. It has to give 100% before it's going to get up in the sky and actually fly. And then, guess what? When it's in the air, then you have a cruising altitude. So what he's saying is, you work so hard for 30 days. You work your tail off. You are getting to that 100%. You're giving it everything you've got. All your energy and your focus is going into building your tribe, building your team, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually you're going to get off the ground. You're going to gain momentum because success loves, what's the word? Success loves, what's the word? I wrote it down. Success loves speed. Success loves speed. So you're going to get off the ground, then you're going to cruise into an altitude, and then you're going to be able to back off a little bit because you're cruising. You've got all these coaches. You've got your new tribe. You've got all, and so what happens is all those people are feeding off each other because it's like they're in like the class of 2016. They're like, I remember when like Jacqueline and Hannah and who else? Kristen all like joined at the same time. They literally have like taken each other arm by arm. And, Jacqueline ended up becoming Emerald like no time. Hannah and Kristen became Diamond like in no time. I mean, they just kind of like surrounded with each other. They attended every single team call. They were on every single leadership call on Tuesdays that I've ever hosted. And then they just got it. And then they started to soar. So my point is, and I do not want to step on anybody's toes, but he said something that absolutely rocked my face off. And he said, and I have been guilty of saying this myself, but there are two things that are not true in network marketing. Two things. It's going to freak you out because you've probably heard this before, or maybe even you have even said this to yourself. Here's the first thing that's not true. Don't forget this and pass it to your team. You may have heard somebody say that slow and steady wins the race. In network marketing, that is not true. He said slow and steady starve. Slow and steady starve. So you may not be relying on your Beachbody income to pay your bills. You might be. Your Beachbody income might be helping pay bills. But what happens if some freak thing happens? Something crazy, something that you've heard like about happening to other people, but it's never happened to you. Slow and steady does not win the race. And the problem with that is that people, they start off saying, oh, well, if I just don't quit, if I just stay there, if I just don't quit, I'm going to make it big one day. The problem is, they keep saying that over and over and over again. They get to year 5 and then they end up saying, well, nothing ever happened for me. So I'm just going to quit. I just dropped, it must have not been for me. And that's not the case. The problem is there was no energy behind your decision to become a network marketer. It was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to give up. And then you did nothing. And then if you're not building a team, then you're working solely on commission. And that's hard because then you're having to be a salesperson. And nobody wants to be a salesperson. So unless you build your tribe of people underneath you, and unless you start them off the way that you're learning and pass on things that are working for you, you're working alone and you're not reaping the benefit of this amazing company that you guys are a part of. And the reason I'm preaching this to you is because I'm preaching it to me. And I just had like a aha moment when I was going over like what I wanted to talk to you guys. So the other thing he was talking about is like, everybody says, well, you should always be the tortoise in the hare. Like, you think, okay, well, you want to be the turtle because eventually he gets there. He gets to the end. And he said, no, you don't want to be that. You want to start off being the rabbit and then be the turtle. So what he was saying is you want to start off on the runway being the rabbit. When you get up in the air, then you can be a turtle. But then guess what? You want to be a rabbit again. At some point, you want to go back and forth. You don't want to just be the rabbit because they end up giving up. But you want to be the rabbit and the hare. So you want to focus on doing a burst of activity, a burst of inviting, a lot, way more than you've ever done in a short amount of time, and then you can hit cruise control for a little while. You don't have to work that way forever because you'll work yourself into a grave. You don't want to do that because your family will like kick you out of your house. But you want to say, okay, this is what I'm doing for us. So let's commit to this together and know that I'm going to work like a rabbit right now so that in 30 days I can reap the benefits of my hard work and be able to take a step back and let's go on a vacation. Let's go on a family vacation. And, I'm going to provide it because I've got my beach buddy money and we're going to go on this together and we're going to celebrate what I've done, what we've done together, what we've accomplished. So, okay, here is the other thing that is, here's the other thing that's not true that he was saying. That will surprise you. A lot of coaches will say, well, if I just don't quit. So the first one was slow and steady wins the race. That's not true. In network marketing, slow and steady does not win the race. The second thing that is not true, well, if I just don't quit. I'll eventually make a bunch of money if I just don't quit. Just not quitting is not enough. You're not going to go anywhere. You have to go beyond just not quitting. And you have to get to the point where you say, enough is enough. I'm done with the situation that my family's in. I'm done with living paycheck to paycheck. I'm done with not being able to put my kids in the sports and not be able to provide, help go on family vacations and not to, whatever it is in your life, I'm done. And I have a gift to help people. I've been given a gift. You've been given by God a gift to help people. You have the ingredients to breathe hope and life into somebody's life. And then you have to focus your time and energy on that burst of energy and then watch your business get off the ground. And that is exactly what I wanted to help you guys learn about tonight is getting your business off the ground. If you feel like it's been stale, if you feel like you've had a hard month like I have, if you feel like you've needed like a wake-up call, like you just need somebody to kind of push you, I am not your boss. I will not tell you what to do. I'm not going to check in with all of you and say, did you do what I told you to do? I'm not. That's not my job. You don't need a boss. I am a coach. I want to help. I want to come alongside you. And if you want to sprint, I'm going to sprint with you. And for those who want to sprint, I'm going to meet you halfway. And whatever your efforts are, I'm coming up there and I'm going to help you. So I will match your efforts. If you are going in 100%, I'm going in 100% with you. And I know that you guys are good. I mean, you're going to encourage and help me because I'm running this race right alongside you guys. Okay, so millions of people hold on to people in network marketing hold on to those myths because they hope that one day that their time is going to come. Like, eventually you're going to make money. And then 5 years come and they go and, they run out of runway is what he said. You run out of runway and you come to the end and nothing's happened. And then you blame it on the fact that it may not have just been for me. So I want to talk to you guys about, after I said all that, how can we do that? Like, how is this, like, let's realistically look at what a month could look like for us. Now, he said over and over and over again, success loves speed. So when you do things so quickly, it gets that ball rolling, like that compound effect. Like, I love the compound effect, that book, but it just talks about like you do so much stuff at the beginning and then all of a sudden you get this momentum. It's kind of like after Summit, when you get back from Summit, if any of you guys have gone, and it's just like it's like you come back from church camp. I don't know if you guys have like been to church camp, but it's like, or you come back from like a foreign country and you just want to give all your clothes to whoever and sell everything. And it's this high that you're on. And that's exactly what the momentum that you guys are going to build when you do a burst of energy in a short amount of time. So he was saying, and this is my plan, and you guys do not have to follow this plan. You need to have your own plan. But my plan is I'm going to try and recruit 20 coaches in 30 days. 20 coaches in 30 days. And he talked to me. He came over to my house. We had coffee. He sat in my living room. So he was talking about he broke it down exactly how we need to do that. Whatever, he's talking to any network marketing company. And he's talking about, okay, how do we do that? First of all, let's talk about how do we do that. Number one, we start with our story. So when we're talking to people, the first thing that we do is we start with our story. Why is it that we start with our story? Because number one, it's not a fact. It's not like, oh, Shakeology has, over 70 superfoods. That's not a fact. Nobody cares about facts at first. They want to care about what it's done for you. So what has Beachbody done for you? Every single one of you guys have a story, whether you've been a coach for one day or a year. Every one of you guys have a story on what Beachbody coaching has done for you. Maybe it's the community of people that there's like 5 of you guys that I've never met in person that I cannot wait to when I see you, run and tackle you to the ground, because that is how I feel so close to you guys because of what Beachbody's done. So that's what he's talking about. Start with your story. Start with your why. Start with why it is that you love this company. Why are you doing this? Is it so that you can be free? So that emotionally you can feel free, like you've got something to pour your heart and soul into? You feel like you are able to help other people feel free? Is that what you are wanting to do? And then the second thing, after you, hang on, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. So the first thing is you always start with your story. And then you want to pick the time frame that you're going to do your burst of energy. This is the thing. If you say, I may do my burst of energy next Monday if all the stars align and my kids are good and, this happens. And that's awesome. And honestly, that's why I have never done this before, because that's, like I told you guys, my reality right now is I don't have the structure. But if I get up at 4 a.m., there's about 2 hours here that I have nothing going on because nobody's awake. So that is my burst of energy. I can go towards that with no distraction. So he was talking about, what is your preparation? How do you prepare to do this? I mean, because you have to kind of have an idea of where you're going with this. So he was talking about preparation, and he was saying, first of all, you need to decide your level of commitment. So how committed are you? And that's scary. How committed are you? Because every single one of us, I know I am, I don't want to say every single one of us, but I know for sure me is afraid to fail at it. I'm afraid to say I didn't hit my goal. And that keeps us from doing more things and starting more things in this world than we even know what to do with. So what is your level of commitment? That's the first thing that I want you to think about when you're preparing for your burst of energy. And then you have to clear your calendar. And I'm not saying, he was literally saying, do nothing else but for 30 days, focus on what you're doing. And so I can't do that. But what I can do is I can sit down with my husband and I can talk to him about our vision for our team. And I can say, babe, where do we want to go with this? what kind of ministry do we want to be able to do without having to worry about money? What, all these, do we want to be able to go on family vacation every year without you ever having to pay for it? It's just fully funded by Beachbody. We're going to talk about our goals together. What is it that we can do if we knew we could not fail? If money was not an issue for us, what is it that we could do? And so you need to sit down with your husband or whoever, or maybe you don't have anybody to talk to about this, and that's totally fine because then you run the show. But if you don't, then you guys have to be or need to be on the same page. Now, not every single spouse in the world is going to be supportive, because for almost a year, mine was not. So I empathize with you because I understand. But what I can say is, if money was not an issue, what would we want to do? And so dream together, talk about that. Figure out what it is that you would want to do with your kids, or what you would want to allow them to do and you've never been able to do. So dream about that. And then are there things you're willing to sacrifice for 30 days? Maybe that is Netflix. Maybe it's just like, I know so many of you guys like to just like veg out at the end of the night and just watch, like reruns of whatever shows or whatever. And is that something that you can give up for 30 days? Like, is there a hobby that you do that could wait for 30 days for you to focus on building your tribe and building your team of people? And then you obviously negotiate with your family. So if your kids are old enough to understand, let them know, babe, honey, son, daughter, whatever, I'm going to be here, but I'm going to be focusing on because in 30 days, I'm going to be able to step back and I'll be able to have my life back. But for 30 days, I'm going to work so hard because this is important to me. I want to be able to do this for us. I want to be able to fill in the blank. And then this is the hardest part. You have to eliminate your distractions when you're in your focused zone, when you're in your time, whatever that means. If that means calling your husband and saying, hey, for the next 2 hours, unless it's an emergency, I'm going to turn my phone off, or whatever your distractions are. Facebook is usually my distraction because it's almost like I see something pretty and then I just follow it. It's kind of like I go into Pinterest every once in a while for a specific thing, and as soon as I get there, I forget what it was, and I'm like scrolling, and I just find myself just scrolling because something pretty caught my eye. But it's distractions like that, It's my kids coming in every 5 minutes. So it's having my husband, keep them while I'm focusing and I'm not having any distractions. So you have to eliminate your distractions. What is it? You know what your distractions are. What is it that you can eliminate and get rid of them? Okay. You also need your team to know what you're doing. So if you already have a team, if you have some coaches that are underneath you, if you have, your own coaching page or whatever, let them know what it is that you're doing so that they know, okay, if this is an emergency, I may want to ask the group team page, because I might not get an answer from her, in the next 3 days or something. So let them know what you're doing so that you can have that support and that help, and your team knows that's what you're doing. Okay. And then you also need a fresh list of prospects. So before you do anything, before anybody goes into battle, they always know what the plan is. So what is your plan? Are you going to actually, walk in and be scrolling through your friends list on Facebook to figure out who you need to invite? Okay, yeah, that's a way, fine. But that can also be a distraction. So I know it is for me, because I'll see somebody on there that I haven't seen, and I'll end up 3 hours later going through their friends list or something. So you need to make a brand new list of people. In the back of your Coach Online office, there is a memory jogger. So you can print that out, and it says, who's your hairstylist? Who's your, all these like people, like it's to jog your memory on people who you can talk to. Tonight, this is crazy. My husband and I went through my phone and his Facebook, and I wrote down 30 names of people that I had never invited that were in my phone. Friends that were in my phone I'd never, ever invited. 30 people. That's crazy. Why didn't I think of that? That's silly. That's like inviting 101. So I missed it. But so have a fresh list of people that you're going to work, like of names you're going to work through. And then this is the kicker. You can't say, okay, I'm going to start inviting, or I'm going to start doing this when I feel ready or when I'm a pro at inviting, because that's not going to work. There are actually some inviting skills in here, but learning is doing. Learning is doing. The only way I learned how to invite is because I've done it over and over and over and over and over again. That's the only reason why I feel like I even have a clue what I'm doing when I talk to somebody. And all of that is found, scripts and everything is found on our team website. So if you have no idea what to say to somebody and you were like, I have no idea what to say, go to our team website, jessicalauder.squarespace.com. I'll type it right here. And the password is Anchor. And if you go to scripts, there's a tab and then it says scripts somewhere. That's got every single wording you can think of. So you don't have to like come up with something on your own. Now you can change it, make it sound like you. Don't be like, hey girl, what's up? Haven't seen you in forever, if that doesn't sound like you, So another really, really cool way to talk to somebody is and make it sound genuine. If you guys have the Messenger app, if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, there is an awesome like voice messaging thing. And that's a really cool way just to get like on if you want somebody to, I'm super like dramatic and I'm a cheerleader. So I'm just like kind of loud. So I like to talk to people on this thing. And they can hear your personality, like especially somebody you haven't seen since like high school or college or whatever. So you can use that. That's kind of fun. I know Caleb Thomas, he's a Beachbody coach. He uses that, and I think it's a great personal touch to your messages. So you can use that if you want to. But there's a ton of scripts. So you just and I want to talk about this tonight because I feel like I'm not the only one that's been stuck in the recruiting stage. And I wanted to help us get unstuck. So I'm going to unmute everybody, or you guys can unmute yourself. And if you have any questions, I want you guys to know that this is my game plan. So for the first 10 days, you guys are having a conversation and I can't even like see it yet. This isn't even fair. This is like class. You guys are passing notes.
Oh you're all just said that. Okay. Anna literally just said what you said.
Are you serious? What? Let me see. What just happened? Oh, we are twins. That is so funny. Okay. So last thing, is Bree getting her hair done?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys, I'm getting my hair done. I'm multitasking.
Girl, that is you got it going on. That is smart.
I'm gonna mute myself now unless you need me.
No, you girl, you do your thing. I got my hair.
We picked out my color, and my hairdresser is super supportive of listening to our meeting. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
All right, bye. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. That's so funny. So he kind of talked about his 30-day game plan. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys. But my 30-day game plan and what he talked about was the first 10 days. Now remember, don't freak out because you're not inviting to a challenge group, because you'll hit Success Club by signing these coaches up. There'll always be a challenge group, that you can run. Plus, there'll be coaches that you probably sign up that need to be a part of a challenge group. So don't be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? My business is going to stop with no challenge group. Don't worry. It's going to keep going. This is just a different aspect of your business. There's the challenge group side, and then there's the recruiting side. And the challenge group side, you're only working off commission. The challenge group or the coaching side, you are now being able to support yourself as a coach by adding people to your team that is going to efficiently be your top coaches or the biggest part of your income. So 30-day game plan. First 10 days, that's when you contact, you invite, and you are presenting. You're contacting, you're inviting, and you're presenting. You're doing one-on-one calls. You're going to coffee with a friend that's been interested. You are inviting your tail off. Say you want to do something like super crazy and say you want to do 10 bold invites a day. You've never done it before. Who does one-on-one? Okay. Kayla asked who does one-on-one calls. I've only done a couple. Maybe you guys have done some more. I'll unmute this and let you guys answer that question in just a second. So the second 10 days is all about follow-up, because we know that that's where the best part is following up, because that's usually when they commit. So the first 10 days, you are inviting your tail off. The second 10 days, you're just following up. Now, you may still be doing some inviting. You may have people that are then contacting you. You may still, but your first 10 days is your bulk of inviting. Your second 10 days is your follow-up. Your third 10 days is you're closing the deal and helping people get started. You're closing the deal and you're giving them their welcome email and you're putting them in coach training. And so that's what you're doing the third 10 days. So that's kind of like what your month looks like, your 30 days looks like. But the first 10 days are the most crucial, because that's when you've got to do the most bulk of your work. So, okay, so that's kind of the gist of recruiting that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, this is the format that I'm going to go off of, because I feel like that's where I'm at. That's just where I'm at. And I don't know where you're at. And you may not want to do anything like this, but I did want to just kind of have like a recruiting boot camp right here, so that you can kind of see the importance as what, you're not in sales, you're in network marketing. And that's what we have to do, is we have to add people to our team. So it's part of what you do. And, any single person that joins your team is blessed to have you as their coach. Absolutely blessed. And I want you to know that. You are worthy of coaching somebody. You are worthy of it. You are a good coach. And I want you to affirm yourself daily, whatever it is. So instead of writing down your goals and saying, I hope to be a diamond coach in 30 days or 90 days or after these, 10 days or whatever, I want you to say, I am a diamond coach. I want you to say, I am a 2-star diamond coach. I am a 6-figure earner. I am a top 5 elite coach. But you replace I want to be or I wish to be with I am. And that way, that's going to train yourself to realize that you're capable of being that. So anyway, that's all I have to say, you guys. And that does include forming or just shooting straight. No, I would say forming. It just means you're going to have a lot more conversations. So you may start forming like 20 people and straight up inviting 20 people. Like it's something that you've never done before, but you're doing it in a short amount of time. So maybe you're taking, a month's worth of invites and putting it into 10 days. So I'm going to keep track, but I'm not going to stop, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to say, okay, well, I'm only going to form with 10 people today, and I'm only going to invite 5 people today. I'm just going to keep going. That's just kind of where I'm at. But I'm going to keep track of what I'm doing, if that makes any sense. What questions do you guys have about inviting or recruiting or?
So if you're going straight for coaches, like skipping the challenge group part of it, if they're not in your warm market, how do you just go for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. And actually, I've just started like reaching out to cold market people. And so what I'm doing is I am leading with the challenge group, but I'm going to invite them to coach. So if that makes any sense. So like your focus for them would be a challenge group, but I'd also say, and you know what, if you sign up at the same time, you know, if say they decided to go ahead and do a challenge pack and they're ready to go, I wouldn't say anything about coaching until you know for sure that poor baby makes me sad. You wouldn't say, like, I wouldn't be like, unless they're into fitness, I probably would lead with a challenge group. And so if they're into fitness, I would say, I would go cut straight to the chase and be like, I want you on my team kind of thing. Like, you have what I'm looking for. You know, you have you're already into fitness. You know, I don't know what, like if they work at a gym or whatever, but I would just talk about the company if they're into fitness. If they're not, then I would lead with a challenge group, but then tell them about the membership. Hey, you don't have to coach anybody, but if you sign up, when you're already getting your challenge pack, you get the sign up fee waived, and then you can stay on Shakeology for 25% off. That's what my mentor has told me to try and do. So,
well, the fitness is pretty much what you did with me. You didn't like beat around the bush with me because you're like, you're already an instructor, you work in a gym.
Perfect example. Yep. Marisa, her and I've been watching her for a while, but she's an instructor. She's into fitness. She works at a gym, you know, like that was very easy, you know, for me to say, you're doing exactly what I'm doing, except for why don't you do this as a job? So anything else you guys want to chat about as far as recruiting goes? And I want you to sit on this and just figure out what is best for you. June may not be a good time for you to do this. It all is going to have to align with what your goals are. So I just know for me personally and in my family situation, I kind of have to put the pedal to the metal and do this. And that's just where I'm at right now. And I want to end the year strong. I want to end the year strong.
So when you invite for 10 days, you said you don't follow up until the second 10 days. So you don't follow up with those people. Like, I normally follow up the next 2 days if they don't already respond back. So you do not follow up with them until the next 10 days.
So what he said was he was talking about inviting 500 people in 10 days. So if you're inviting 500 people in 10 days, now you have to understand he's talking about network marketing all over the board. He's not talking about Beachbody coaching. So he's saying if you're going to invite 500 people in 10 days, all you're going to be doing for 10 days is you're going to be on the phone. You're going to be doing conference calls. You're going to be doing presentations. You're not going to have time to follow up. So he was saying all of your focus needs to be on that. For us, I'm going to set aside a time to follow up, but it's going to be very short. My main concern for 10 days is inviting. So I'm going to you know, I'm going to follow up with, like, say I have 10 people that are coming back to me. I might follow up, you know, in my hours worth of time that I've set aside, like the first 3 or 4 people. And then the next day I'll do the 3 or 4 people, but I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to do like 3 hours of following up or whatever, if that makes sense. So my plan is to focus, because that's taking away time from recruiting, you know? So like, you want to make sure you have that time to invite too. But, you know, for instance, they're talking about you're having to do presentations. Well, we don't have to do like 3 and 4 hour presentations. We can throw them in a backstage pass or give them the coaching opportunity webinar that's 30 minutes long. And by the end of that, they're going to know whether or not they want to be a coach. So we don't have these like long drawn out where we have to plan, you know. It's very easy for us to be able to give them the information. So that's another good something to think about. I'm going to spend tomorrow and kind of like look at my calendar and figure out when I'm going to do coaching opportunity calls and when I'm going to do backstage pass for this month. And you guys are more than welcome to throw people in any of that. Anything that I do, you can invite people to if you want.
Perfect.
So there's 10 days for recruiting, 10 days for following up, and then the last 10 days, what's that?
That's that you're sealing the deal. So you're closing the deal. So they're buying their challenge pack. Now, for us, it happens a lot quicker than that. You don't need like 20 days. Well, I say that. Most of the time, it doesn't take that long. You know, you usually know if it's a good time for them or not. And then, so they may be like, hey, I can sign up at the end of the month and then follow up with them at the end of the month. But most of the time they're either like, yeah, I can do it. Just give me a couple days or, you know, whatever. So you just kind of use that as like a guideline. You don't have to follow that like tooth and nail. This is what I have to do. I've never done this before. So I'll let you know when I'm done, like what's worked. But, you know, that's just kind of like his outline for people. It's not, you know, because at some point you can't focus on recruiting for 30 days because then you're going to have like tons of people to follow up with. And then another, like, you know, having to like close the deal with a bunch of people. So you kind of want to like space it out. But I mean, if you just do what seems best.
I read the book and I actually got everything ready. I planned out everything, and then I was like, oh, that's a lot. It got me. I listened to the webinar and everything, and I was all excited. But then I was like, I couldn't decipher like his way, because when they're not a Beachbody coach, they don't really know our style of how things work. And so I was just like, so how is this supposed to work? You know, like I can't do this 30 days. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't.
Yeah.
So anyways, so now that this makes more sense in a Beachbody style, like I can probably do this better. So
yeah, and it's literally you set the tone. The point is 20 coaches in 30 days or 10 coaches in 30 days or whatever your goal is. But you know, there was a reason that they said 20 coaches, and I'll say this really quickly, and then I'll let you guys go because it's been a long time. But the reason that he said 20 coaches, and I'm going to explain this to you really fast, is you will – where did I write this down? Okay. So say you have 20 recruits, 20 coaches that sign up. 12 of them will actually do something. They'll get some points, maybe some Success Club points. You know, they may actually, you know, help you with a challenge group. They may actually do whatever. 8 of them disappear. Like they just fall off the face of the earth, which happens. We all know that. So now you're down to 12 coaches. 8 of those 12 coaches, 90 days into it, they look like leaders. They're showing up. They may have hit Success Club. They're posting, you know, challenge group invites. They're, you know, inviting. So 8 of those people look like they could be leaders on your team. They're leading the pack. They're whatever, starting to build their own team. 1 year later, 4 of them are solid builders that generate 90% of your income. 4. And then, and honestly, there's only really 1 out of the 4 that generate 75% of that 90. So there's one, you can have 1 rock star coach and you're set. You're set. And that's what he's saying. And then out of the 4, there's 2 top coaches that 5 years from now are leaders on your team who generate 90% of your income. And so, and you could easily make 6 to 7 figures just with 2 dynamite coaches on your team. And you have no idea who that could be. It could be anybody. So you just want to get out there and find them. Find who your leaders are. Find the people that are like you. People that are going to show up to calls like this. That's what you want. Who are going to put the effort into doing something. That's what you want. Because then that way you're helping them. You're showing them they're being blessed financially by this business because it's so much about heart. And that's what you guys are, we breathe hope and steadfastness. That is exactly what our team is about. Hope and steadfastness. Hope and steadfastness is not giving up. It's tenacious. It is not backing down. It is going full force. And that's what you guys are doing. And you're showing people that it's possible for them too. So anyway, if you have any questions, you can ask them. I'm going to stop